I want to just talk broadly about the session here. What did we get to? What would you still like to see get over the finish line in a special?
Well, the Senate had a great session. We did our work. We passed, I believe, 28 out of 30 priorities that we had. I think 20 have become law, all of the governor's priorities. The Senate bills that died in the House that will cause a special session are important to us. Obviously, election security, Senate Bill 7, as well as Senate Bill 29, which was the UIL rule on boys not playing girls' sports. It's not anti-transgender, it's pro-women, pro-girls, to protect their rights and their ability to get scholarships and not have boys taken away from them. We had a bill on not allowing censorship from social media of Texas citizens, and that did not make it, as well as taxpayer-funded lobbying. And those issues have broad support. Republicans, independents, Democrats, those are issues that the people of Texas wanted to see pass. And there are a number of other issues, but we'll be back because, in large part, the House took 2 days off during the last 6 days. I still don't quite understand that. And they got behind in their work, and they got up against a deadline. The Democrats should not have walked out. If you're an elected official, you don't get to go home because you lose a vote. They did, but they wouldn't have had the opportunity had the House had their schedule where those bills would have been on the day before. Unfortunate.
Do you feel that the Senate priorities died in the House more than usual this session?
No, maybe not more than usual, but different. In the past, there were a number of reasons bills may have died. This time it was just poor management of the calendar. I mean, our trains run on time in the Senate, we get our work done. They took 2 days off last week. Again, in the last 6 days you can pass bills, they took 2 full days off, and we were working till 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. We never stopped working. And so I knew it could be a train wreck. I tried to be positive about it, didn't say anything at the time, but what happened last night is not shocking, unfortunately.
Do you feel that Speaker Phelan is qualified to lead the chamber?
I'm not answering that question. I'm just saying he didn't do a good job of managing his calendar. I mean, it is. And the only reason I say that, I'm not trying to be critical, but people say, what happened? Well, we have deadlines when you can bring a bill to the floor. So the most important bill for Republicans and many Texans is election security. And that bill did not come up until 8 o'clock, almost 8 o'clock on the last night when you had a midnight deadline. So that's bad management. And the other thing here to note, which is really important, these bills that died in the House, we passed these in March and April. They've been sitting over there for months. And they wait till the last 2 or 3 days. You're just asking for trouble. Now, the Democrats shouldn't have walked out, but they were given the opportunity and they did.
Do you feel that that a special session will help in the Senate, essentially? I mean, able to tackle more topics than if you're able to convince the governor to put some more of those things on? Well,
I've given the governor a list of bills. The thing he did today, which was very smart, is he has vetoed Article 10 of the budget, which pays for all legislative salaries. Now, senators and representatives, myself, we make $600 a month, so that doesn't impact us, but this impacts every employee. They would lose their job in the end of August. And why did he do that? Because we've heard threats and rumors that the Democrats have decided not to come back at all, even with a special session, to stop us from passing any legislation. So if they don't come back at all, they're going to lose their entire staffs, and people are going to be out of work. So this says, if you want to come back and protect your staffs, you need to come back to work in a special session. You're going to vote on these bills. If you lose, you lose. You don't get to go home and cry about it and act like you're a spoiled legislator. Just come and do the job. You win some votes, you lose some votes. And that will get them back.
There are some people that have criticized some of the Senate priorities, saying, some of these issues have failed multiple times, like the taxpayer-funded lobbying, like some of the transgender issues. What can you talk about weighing the wants versus the needs, and do you feel that you have the ability to get some of those things over the finish line?
Hey, we have passed them all. They should have. I can guarantee you there were votes on the House floor to vote for all those bills and pass them. But if you don't get a chance to vote because they never get to the calendar, then the House members don't get a chance to pass them. And by the way, the issues you mentioned are not partisan. Over 80% of Democrats don't believe in taxpayer-funded lobbying. They don't want tax dollars used to hire lobbyists to lobby against their interests back in their community. So taxpayer-funded lobbying, broad support across the board. Boys not playing girls sports, broad support. It's just a common sense thing. I'm kind of getting tired of this. Oh, it's anti-transgender, it's controversial. Boys should not play girls sports, period. They can hit the golf ball further, they can hit a three-point shot further, they can run faster in track. They can do everything stronger and faster than a girl. And you're going to see girls not be able to play on teams. They're going to lose scholarships. I'm tired of this controversial nonsense about this. It's not anti-transgender. It's pro-women sports and their opportunities, which they will be denied of. So that's not controversial. And again, I think almost 70% of independents support that. And the Democrats are about 50-50 on that issue. Republicans are 90%. So that's not controversial.
Do you feel that the Texas legislature delivered for Texans on the power grid?
We did a lot, but we have more to do. We have totally revamped ERCOT, the board, the PUC board. I mean, major changes, winterization. We're making sure we have some money to keep ERCOT operating so they don't have a liquidity issue. But the thing that we did not do, that the Senate asked to do multiple times, was to provide relief for ratepayers. Ratepayers. We passed a bill to the House on that 32 hours of pricing that should not have been priced. People forget about it. It's been 5 months now. But when the last 32 hours, it should not have been at $9,000 an hour. And 29 senators signed that bill. The House never even heard it. And then we had an amendment on a bill the last week to provide $3 billion in ratepayer relief. They refused to hear it. So I'm disappointed in that. I'm also concerned that we still need to focus on how we get more generation. We need more power. But we've done some groundbreaking things in energy, groundbreaking, which in a quick soundbite's hard to get to. But the ERCOT board, for example, the board members were all people of industry. They never vote against their self-interest. We've wiped that all out. From now on, there have to be all independent people. The industry cannot control the board. That's the fox guard and the hen house, so we stopped that. We've increased the board to 5 members and want more business leaders on the PUC board. Mistakes were made at the PUC and ERCOT, in large part, that created that situation. But we still need more power, and we did something significant with renewables. Wind and solar are important. It's great to have in our portfolio. We're 5th in the world, by the way, in wind and solar. It's the US, China, Germany, India, and Texas. But when the sun's down, the wind's not blowing, they're not providing any energy for us. So when we needed 15,000 megawatts from them in the winter, we were getting less than 5,000. And they have been able, when they don't deliver what they're supposed to deliver, they don't have any cost involved. But if you and I are running a gas-powered plant to provide energy, if we can't provide, we have to pay someone else to provide it. So we're balancing that field because we need more thermal gas plants to produce energy for us so the lights don't go out. And so these are major things that we did, but I'm very unhappy with the House 2 times turning down the Senate. And again, 29 out of 31 senators is a pretty strong message that we want to give billions of dollars in rate relief. And I said last night on the Senate floor, when we come back, if we get another bill that puts more money towards industry, I'm not bringing it to the floor. I want money to come to the floor for ratepayers. We've taken a stand on that all session, and we're not going to give up on that issue.
You mentioned that you've sent the governor a list. What does the Dan Patrick wish list look like
Well,
for the special
I mentioned Senate Bill 7, obviously, the election security bill that went down. Senate Bill 10, taxpayer-funded lobbying. Senate Bill 12, which is censorship by, on social media. Whether you're a liberal, independent, or conservative, you shouldn't be censored on what you say, unless it's something, that shouldn't be said. I'm talking about politically, you shouldn't be censored for what you believe. And those 3 bills, the UIL, Senate Bill 29, there are a number of pieces of legislation that did make it across the finish line, but those are the highlights.
And you'd rather do that on the early side as opposed to waiting for a redistricting session?
Well, it's going to be next to impossible to do that. Redistricting is hard. We've got to redraw the congressional maps, the Senate maps, the House maps, and we're going to have about $16 billion coming in from the federal government. We have to figure out how we're going to spend it. And when you're redrawing people's districts, most of them aren't happy because it changes every 10 years just by population. It's not a good time to try to get a vote sometimes. So that has to be its own separate deal and should not be mixed in with politics.